Today, we'll be answering the question, should the Bears draft Caleb Williams? This will be the Bears' second year in a row with the first overall pick. They obviously traded it away last year, acquired DJ Moore, and acquired the Panthers pick, which is the first overall pick. I don't know if Caleb Williams would even want to play for the Bears, because we all know how he is. I personally think they should stick with Fields, get what they can out of him. I also think it's kind of going to depend on how he plays today. I'm recording this on Sunday before he plays the Packers. I think if he gets the win, they'll stick with him and think he's the guy. But today we're rebuilding the Bears with Caleb Williams. I forced, win, and lost all of our games and all the Panthers games. I could have done the whole league, but that seems like a lot of work. You can see I didn't do that because the Packers are 4-12. But I wanted to get to the point where we are currently in the season and just make sure that we get the #1 overall pick. So we're going to go ahead and sim to the next season because I don't think we're even in the playoff picture here. Yeah, we're not. This is actually not like terribly inaccurate. This is actually decently accurate to like how it was in real life, even with me not forcing the rest of the league's wins. We'll go ahead and get into the next season. And the Cowboys beat the Bills in the Super Bowl 35-7. We'll just go ahead and take a look at this. Looks like MVP goes to Patrick Mahomes. Offensive Player of the Year goes to Jonathan Taylor. Defensive Player of the Year goes to DeMarcus Lawrence. Offensive Rookie of the Year goes to Josh Downs. And Defensive Rookie of the Year goes to Jalen Carter. We're going to get into our re-signings here. I think there's still one more year left on Justin Fields' deal from this point. Maybe there's a 5th-year option or something. But if we do still have him by the time we get to the draft, we will be trading him away. Yeah, so we do have a 5th-year option for Justin Fields, which we will obviously not be accepting. This is expensive for Darnell Mooney, and he's not even really interested, so I'd have to give him even more money. I don't think... I mean, I guess I'll give him a 3-year, $30.6 million deal. He's actually happy with that. That's still a decent amount of money, but we don't have many players here we need to re-sign anyways. Maybe we bring back Rasheem Green. He's excited to stay with the team. That's probably going to be all the re-signings we make. So let's go ahead and get to the draft. So I just checked, and we actually have the #2 pick. That's not good. Who has the #1 pick? Fuck, the Browns have the #1 pick. Will they take a quarterback, though? Will I still be able to get Caleb Williams? I guess we'll just do the draft, and if we're somehow not able to get Caleb Williams, I'll just have to scratch this and do all this shit over again. But we're going to go ahead and trade Justin Fields first before we get into the draft. And we're shipping Justin Fields to the Raiders for their 2nd-round pick this year, 2nd-round pick next year, and a 5th-round pick in this year's draft. Now it's just time to get into the draft and hope that I didn't mess up here. Oh, the Texans have the #1 pick? Oh, I'm retarded. The Browns traded them their pick. All right, well, they have CJ Stroud, so I should be even less worried. There's no reason they should take Caleb Williams. All right, and they take Dennis Foreman. So we're going to go ahead and be taking Caleb Williams with the technical 1st overall pick, but the 2nd overall pick in the draft to the Chicago Bears. Hidden Dev, 94 throw power, 86 speed, 88 change of direction. That didn't really look like Caleb Williams, but guess it's whatever. Let's get into our next 1st-round pick. Oh, and Marvin Harrison goes 1 pick before us. I imagine we would have been able to make that happen. Before I keep like yapping about these players, I am a college football casual. Like, I don't know who most of these people even are. I know who Michael Penix is. I know who Shooter Sanders is. I don't really know that much about college football. I really only watch OU, and I still don't even know many of their players. But other than that, you know, let me stop yapping and just get into the drafting. Keon Coleman looks pretty good. His ratings look all right, and he had 21 bench reps and has elite jumping. A deep route, B short route, B catching traffic, B catching, B release, A to C spec catch. He actually looks really good. But the other guy I was looking at was Calvin Turner out of Iowa State. He didn't have that good of a combine, but he has elite jumping, decent strength and good speed, good agility. He has A man, B zone, B press, A block shed. The question is just who looks better between the two I was looking at. This receiver also looks good. Rome Adunzi. I'm just going to assume that's how you say that. He's 6'3" and he ran a 4.38. He has elite jumping and elite acceleration. Ooh, B medium route, B stamina, A catching, A to C spec catch, A to C catch in traffic. I think we're going to be taking Rome Odunze out of Washington. He's hidden dev with 94 speed, 94 excel. That's a good pick there. Let's get into our next pick in the second round. I'm kind of thinking, ooh, this running back doesn't look terrible. Raheem Sanders out of Arkansas. He ran a 4.45, has elite jumping, great strength. B stiff arm, B spin move, A break tackle, A ball carrier vision. That guy doesn't look bad at all. There is another good cornerback on the board, a Nate Northrup out of FAU. He ran a 4.48. His ratings aren't like insane, but his like core attributes look pretty good. B zone, B man, B press, A to B hit power, A catching, A injury, A to B awareness. I think we're gonna go ahead and take Nate Northrup here. Only normal dev, 92 speed, 91 excel. With our next pick at number 14 in the second round, I would like to take like another D lineman, because the only really good D lineman we have on the team at this point is Montez Sweat. This guy doesn't look terrible. Stephen Farrell out of Iowa State. He ran a 4.70, but his rates aren't that good. He does have B play rec and B to D finesse moves, A to C pursuit. This guy's probably alright, but I wouldn't take him without looking at all these other D linemen first. See, like, Dammy Hancock also doesn't look terrible. He ran a 4.99 and had 39 bench reps. He has elite acceleration and elite strength. B awareness, A play rec, B block shedding, B power moves, B tackle. I think this is who we're going to be going with. Sammy Hancock out of Virginia. God, only normal dev, 94 strength, 86 excel. These normal devs we're drafting I still think are going to be decent overalls though. So we'll get into the last pick I'm going to show. And hopefully we can draft. I don't really know what I want to draft. Maybe we look into drafting like a running back. Ooh, and Will Shipley's on the board. Out of Clemson, 21 years old. He had 30 bench reps and he has great strength. A ball carrier vision, A break tackle, B trucking. His B spec catch, that's pretty weird. His injury and awareness kind of scare me, but I think I'm just going to go with Will Shipley because he looks like one of the most fun players to take. Also normal dev. These are like pre-made draft classes that I had to download, so I don't know if they come with like desired dev traits. But that's going to be the last pick I'm going to show, and I'll see you guys at the draft recap. Here's a look at the draft recap. It looks like most of the people we took weren't terrible. I did take Bartow and Osgood, who are pretty terrible, but the running back we ended up taking turned out to be a 73. Hancock's a 75, Northrup's a 75, and then our receiver that we drafted, Rome Odunze, he goes to Washington. Do I know who this guy is? I'm not going to act like I know who this guy is. I don't. And then, obviously, we have Caleb Williams, who's a 79 overall, which I think is higher than we started with Justin Fields at the beginning of this video. So let's take a look at the new lineup. Here's a look at the offense after the draft. Caleb Williams up to an 80 with morale. I wish we would have drafted a better running back because I don't think Herbert's going to play very good in the sim. So we'll look into getting a new running back hopefully soon. DJ Moore lost his star dev. The receiving core looks alright though, and I know Cole Kmet normally plays pretty good in this game. The D-line looks a little rough. Hancock is sitting at a 75 overall, so I feel like he's going to play pretty decent this year. And the corner we drafted, we didn't even really need. I honestly thought it kind of looked like we did need a corner. Maybe we'll trade Gordon or something like that, but the defense doesn't look terrible. Eddie Jackson, did he start off at star dev? I'm honestly not sure, but I'm kind of just yapping. So let's get into the beginning of this year. And here we are at the beginning of Caleb Williams' first season as a Chicago Bear. We're going to go ahead and get to the midseason and see how he can do. And at the midseason, we are 5-2 in winning the NFC North. We'll take a look at our stats so far on the year. It looks like Drake May was actually leading the league in passing yards, but we are 4th, 8 touchdowns to 4 picks, 69% completion percentage. Our running back, Khalil Herbert's doing all right. Actually, not very good. Only averaging 3 yards per carry. Shipley's averaging 3.1, but Khalil Herbert does have 5 touchdowns. Receiving, DJ Moore's leading our team with 500 yards and 3 touchdowns. Mooney with 400 yards and no touchdowns, and 300 out of Rome Odunze with 2 touchdowns. The O-line is holding up not terrible other than Braxton Jones allowing 7 sacks, but Darnell Wright only with 4. Whitehair with 2, and Nate Davis, who we moved to center, with 1, and 1 out of Tevin Jenkins. Defensively, Tremaine Edmonds leading the team in tackles. We only have 3 sacks out of Montez Sweat, 1.5 out of Robinson, 1 out of Billings. We have 6 TFLs out of Montez Sweat, 5 out of Hancock, and 4 out of Billings. Hancock's not playing terrible. I do wish he had like a sack or 2. Interceptions, we have 2 out of TJ Edwards, 2 out of Jaquan Brisker, and 1 out of Sanborn. Let's go ahead and take a look at what players we have ready to negotiate. We have $83 million to spend. I would like to bring back Tevin Jenkins. He's actually playing really good for us. I'll give him a 4-year, $49 million deal. He re-signs. Khalil Herbert, I'll probably wait till the end of the year to re-sign him. He's only averaging like 3 on the ground per carry right now. The rest of these players don't look too important to bring back. Maybe we give Eddie Jackson a deal, even though he's not very interested. 2 years, $11 million, and he does re-sign. That's probably going to be all we're going to re-sign here at the midseason. So we're going to go ahead and sim to the playoffs and see if we can get in. And at the end of the first year with Caleb Williams, we go 10-7, make the playoffs. Don't win the division, but we are going against the Vikings, who did win the division. We had the 8th offense in passing yards, 19th in points, and the 6th defense in points per game, and the number 1 passing defense. So let's go ahead and take a look at our stats on the year. Caleb Williams was 8th in the league in passing yards with 4,100 yards. He had 28 touchdowns and 12 picks. Don't know if this is going to be good enough for a Rookie of the Year, but I don't even know what his depth chart is because I haven't checked yet. On the ground, we didn't do very good. Caleb Williams averaged more yards per carry than all of our running backs did. Shipley didn't play very good, and Khalil Herbert only averaged 3.2 per carry. He had 7 touchdowns, though. DJ Moore with 1,300 yards, 10 touchdowns. Maybe this will be enough to get him his depth trait back. And Ondunze actually played pretty good. 900 yards, 5 touchdowns. 700 yards, 5 touchdowns out of Mooney, and 700 yards, 5 touchdowns out of Cole Kmet. The O-line held up not terrible. Our tackles didn't play very good. 12 sacks allowed out of Braxton Jones, 10 out of Wright. The interior played good, though. 5 sacks from Nate Davis, 4 from Whitehair, and 2 from Jenkins. He actually had a really good season. Defensively, Tremaine Edmonds led the team in tackles. We had 12.5 sacks out of Montez Sweat, so that's a good season from him. 6.5 out of Hancock and 16 TFLs. Maybe enough for Defensive Rookie of the Year. He did hit a breakout throughout the year, though, so if he did, he would get up to Superstar. 2.5 sacks out of Billings and 14 TFLs. Interception, we had 4 out of Tremaine Edmonds, 4 out of TJ Edwards, 2 out of Tyreek Stevenson, 2 out of Jaquan Brisker, 2 out of Jalen Johnson, and 1 out of Sanborn. Let's take a look at the yearly awards here. MVP goes to Josh Allen. We, of course, had nobody in the running. NFC Offensive Player of the Year goes to Brandon Ayuk. It looks like we also didn't have anyone in the running here. Defensive Player of the Year goes to Aaron Donald. Tremaine Edmonds came in 5th place. Offensive Rookie of the Year does go to us with Caleb Williams. Adunze came in 3rd place, and I think that's it. 2nd place went to Drake May. He was leading the league in passing yards at the midseason. Defensive Rookie of the Year goes to Metcalf, and we came in 2nd place with Hancock. So we didn't win it, but he did already get a breakout throughout the year, so that depth trait isn't too important to us. Before we get into this game, I want to take a look at our lineup and see what all of our depth traits are. Okay, and Caleb Williams is X Factor. I kind of expected so, but I wasn't sure. And Adunze is actually Superstar, so that's pretty cool. Defensively, no depth traits, but Hancock hit his breakout. We had another breakout on defense. Who was it? It was Gordon. So we got 2 defensive breakouts this year, and they were both hit, so that's pretty good for the team. What would be even better is if we could win this wildcard game. Let's go ahead and sim to the divisional and see if we can beat the Vikings. And we beat the Vikings 17-14 in the wild card. We're facing off the 89 overall Eagles in the divisional, who had the 11th offense in points per game, but only the 26th defense. So who knows, maybe we'll have a chance here against the Eagles. Let's go ahead and sim to the NFC Championship. And I kind of expected that. We lose to the Eagles 21-16. Pretty good year for Caleb Williams' rookie season. He won a playoff game already. He's already sitting at like an 86 overall, I think it was. So let's go ahead and get into the next year. And it looks like the Eagles beat the Bills, or I'm sorry, it looks like the Bills beat the Eagles in the Super Bowl 35-31. We're going to get into the next week, re-sign any players we need to, and we actually have a decent amount of money that we could hopefully spend in free agency here. And the only players we have to re-sign are Khalil Herbert. I will bring back Jack Sanborn because he had a pretty decent year. This is kind of expensive, so maybe I can bring it down a little bit. 5 years, 75 mil. He does take it. That was a pretty expensive deal for him, though. I don't think I'm going to bring back any of the rest of these guys, especially not Khalil Herbert. Maybe we'll bring back Whitehair because he actually had a good year. And he's excited to stay with the team. Do we have like do we need to re-sign our kicker or anything? No, we don't. So let's go ahead and get into free agency. I think we know who we're going to go for in free agency. That's all I can say. The rest of free agency actually doesn't look terrible. This is actually a really good class. See, I want to go for Greg Newsome, but we already have like 4 corners. But maybe I go for him anyway, just because he'd be a good asset to add to the team. I'd like to add JOK too, but he's expensive and not even interested in the team. Let me make some offers, and I will show you guys everybody we offer to. So it looks like we're just going to become the Chicago Browns, because we're going to be going for Nick Chubb, Greg Newsome, and JOK in free agency. We're the top offer for all 3, so let's see if we can get them. And 2 of them signed. We get Nick Chubb and JOK. Looks like Greg Newsome got a pretty good deal from the Saints, so maybe he'll go there, maybe he'll come to us. And we sign all 3. So we are officially the Chicago Browns. That's going to be nice for our defense and nice for our offense, because we definitely could use Nick Chubb. Definitely spent a lot of money in that free agency, but we still have 25 mil. Maybe I'll end up regretting that, but I think it's going to be good for the team. Let's go ahead and get into the draft. Here's a look at the team after free agency. We added Nick Chubb, who is now a 99 overall X Factor. Our receiving core looks really good. We have 2 superstars, and our worst receiver that's going to be starting is an 80 overall. The O-line could definitely use some work. Oh my god, Cole Kmet's up to an 87. I did not know that. But the interior definitely needs some work. I was going to go for Teron Armstead because of how bad our tackle play was this year, but Teron Armstead is not very good in this game whenever I sign him. So hopefully we can draft some people for the interior O-line here. And we definitely need somebody for the D-line. I also think I'm going to go ahead and trade TJ Edwards, because we really only have 2 linebackers playing most of the time, and it's not like Sanborn can't come in and play. So we may trade Edwards, I'm not sure, but we definitely need to look to draft some D-line, maybe a safety. But the team is looking really good so far. We have one of like the deepest corner groups possible, and yeah, we just need, the only holes are really interior O-line and D-line. So let's go ahead and get into the draft. Here we are at the draft, picking at 26. I took a look at some of the players we focus scouted, and we kind of might be able to hit on some studs here, because we focus scouted this left guard who's projected to go in the 3rd or 4th round, and he's a round 1 to 2 talent. We focus scouted this center who's projected to go in the 2nd or 3rd round, and he's a round 1 to 2 talent. And then we also focus scouted this left end who's supposed to go in the 2nd to 3rd round and is a round 1 to 2 talent. So definitely some potential here to get a couple studs. I'm even considering maybe trading down my first pick, because there's a lot of quarterbacks up here that we don't need. We don't need this corner. We don't really need a receiver. And it could be helpful to us to have more 2nd round picks to make sure that we can get these guys that I focus scouted. So let me see if I can get anything valuable trading down. So we're going to be trading down with the Bucks. We're going to get their 2nd round pick from this year and their 1st round from next year. We're giving them our 1st round pick from this year, a 4th from this year, a 4th and a 7th from 2027. Here we are at round 2, pick 15. I think we have 3 picks in the 2nd round here, so let's make sure all of the players we focus at are still here. The left guard's still there, the center's still there, and shit. Okay, I got a little scared there for a second. And the DN's still here. So this guy's projected to go in round 2 to 3. This guy's projected to go in round 2 to 3. And this guy's projected to go around 3 to 4. So we're definitely either going to go with the center here or the DN. And the center looks a lot better. He literally has like all A attributes. He had 32 bench reps at the combine. He has elite acceleration and elite change of direction for what that's worth. A awareness, A impact, A injury, A lead block, A pass block finesse, A run block finesse. Yeah, I think I know who we're going to go with here. Jimmy Nails out of Miami. Hidden dev, only 84 strength, but his power was definitely lower than his finesse, so I guess it makes a little bit of sense. Let's get into our next pick here, which is actually, we have a back-to-back. So do we go with the guard first, or do we go with the DN? Probably the DN, just because I think he's more likely to get taken, and there's other guards that don't look terrible. So we're probably going to take the DN here. Oh yeah, and he's around 2 to 3 projection, so that's definitely the smarter play. Clay Ankrum, he had 36, he had 36 bench reps at the combine. He has elite strength. Is this guy like pretty much a D tackle? Yeah, he's 6'4", 320. This guy will probably end up playing D tackle for us. He has B awareness, A block shedding, A play rec, B power moves, A pursuit. This guy has really good ratings. I did set the draft classes to strong because after my last video, it was just so much more fun that, okay, and he's normal dev. Whatever. I don't know how that's around 1 to 2 talent, but not going to worry about it too much. Let's go ahead and get into the next pick and grab our guard. Oh, we have 4 picks in the 2nd round. Jesus. Oh, do we have the Panthers 2nd round pick 2? Maybe we do. But our guard is still here, around 1 to 2 talent. Jawan Boley. He had 40 bench reps at the combine, has elite strength, A pass block power, A awareness, A impact, A lead block, A stamina, B run block power. Let's go ahead and take him. Somehow he's normal dev. This game doesn't make much sense to me. Well, I'll just show you guys this one last pick just because we have another pick here in the second round. And that's probably be the last pick that I show you guys. Don't know who I'm going to go for here, though, actually, because there's a lot of quarterbacks, which we don't need. There is a safety that we could maybe use. Mitch Milstead out of A&M, 22 years old. He had 15 bench reps at the combine. He has solid change of direction, decent speed. His ratings aren't that good, but his core attributes don't look terrible. B awareness, A catching, B play rec, B tackle, B to D zone, A to C man. I think this guy's going to be pretty good. He may not have hidden dev, but I think he's going to be a pretty good overall. This is what we're going to go with. And he is hidden dev, 91 excel, 85 speed. That's going to be the last pick I show you guys. I'll probably make a couple more, but I'll see you guys at the draft recap. Here's a look at the draft recap. The center we took in the second round with our first pick was a 75, as was the left end, as was the left guard. Our hidden dev strong safety is a 72, and I also took this left tackle, Ty Johnson. He was normal dev, but he's a 72 overall, so that's not bad. We'll take a look at the whole NFL. There was an 83 corner, holy shit, an 82 corner as well, and another 82 corner. There was a lot of good corners in this draft, holy shit. That's pretty much like all the top players are like cornerbacks and quarterbacks other than this receiver. Honestly, I'm not too upset. I don't think we really missed out on anything, especially considering we don't need a corner and we traded down. So let's go ahead and take a look at our lineup after the draft. It looks like the CPU took as a hidden dev tight end, which is pretty cool. I'll probably start him at fullback because that's a little fun. But here's a look at the new offense. 2 new starting alignment on the interior. Hopefully they can hold up well. And Nails is, or is it Nails or Knowles? Like, it's kind of hard to tell from right here. It is Nails. Jimmy Nails. It's kind of a hard name. I'm kind of yapping, but hopefully they can hold down the interior pretty well. Our interior played pretty well last season anyway. We probably could have used a tackle, but the one we drafted isn't much better. I'm probably going to move Milstead over to free safety and see what overall he is there. And he stays at a 72 overall. I think I'm going to start him over Eddie Jackson just because he has the dev trait, and Eddie Jackson's like 9 million years old. This is the rookie end we drafted, but he's like pretty much a D tackle. So I also want to see what overall he is at D tackle. And he goes up to a 77 overall at tackle. So looks like we actually have really good interior D-line. I think I'm going to trade TJ Edwards for maybe another pass rusher, because the rest of this defense looks good. I don't think TJ Edwards is going to play much anyways as our third sub linebacker. So let me see if I can get anything out of him. You know what? TJ Edwards actually isn't a terrible rusher. He's an 80 overall right end, and he's a good run stopper, a good speed rusher, and power rusher. We honestly may just leave him there for this year. Let me make sure it puts him in at our rushing right end. It doesn't, so I'll make sure I put him there. I think he's actually not going to play terrible, though. I think that's going to be good for this season. We'll definitely try to draft a better one in one of these upcoming drafts. But Montez Sweat has kind of been holding it down, so I'm not too worried about the D-line. But I think I've been yapping long enough. Let's go ahead and... Ooh, I don't know why I did that. But let's go ahead and we'll get into this next season. Here we are at the beginning of year 2. We are an 86 overall. That's got to be higher than most of the teams in the league at this point. So this should be a really good season. But that's enough said. We're going to go ahead and get to the mid-season of year number 2. Sully won't stop meowing, so I think he wants to say hi to you guys. Ooh, good boy. Anyway, here we are at the mid-season at 6-1, winning the division with the #1 offense in points per game. The defense not doing as good. 14th in points per game. Didn't we have like the #1 passing defense last year? And now we're down to 28. So besides the point, we have a weekly award from week 7, and JOK had 4 tackles and 2 interceptions. So definitely a huge addition to this team. Glad that the Browns have no money. We were able to steal all of their players. Let's go ahead and take a look at our stats on the year so far. Caleb Williams is 3rd in the league in passing yards. Holy shit. 1,900 yards, 18 touchdowns, no picks. Rushing, Nick Chubb averaging 5.7 on the ground, 600 yards, 9 touchdowns. Receiving, we have 600 yards out of DJ Moore with 7 touchdowns. Darnell Mooney with 395 yards, 2 touchdowns. And Adunze with 300 yards, 1 touchdown. Cole Kmet with 303 touchdowns. The O-line is, again, holding up good other than our tackle. Braxton Jones has not been doing very good. The interior is holding up great. And it looks like Jawan Boley hasn't allowed a single sack on the year so far. So that's pretty good to see. Defensively, Tremaine Edmonds leading the team in tackles. We have 3 sacks out of Montez Sweat, 2 out of TJ Edwards, 1 out of JOK. 6 TFLs out of Montez Sweat, 5 out of TJ Edwards, 5 out of Ankrum. And then interceptions, we have 3 out of Jaquan Brisker, 2 out of JOK, 1 out of Edmonds, 1 out of Johnson, and 1 out of Gordon. Looks like the team is playing pretty good. We definitely need our defense to step up a little bit. We're not getting many sacks. So hopefully we can even draft a pass rusher in this upcoming draft. Let's take a look at what players we have to re-sign. We have $52 million to spend. I would really like to bring back DJ Moore, so we'll probably get up this money a little bit. 4 years, $82 million. He thinks offer's tempting, but he's not accepting it yet. I'd like to bring back Brisker as well. I'll give him a 4-year deal for $46 million. I didn't even see if he accepted it. He didn't. Yikes. I'm not going to re-sign Braxton Jones right now. He hasn't been playing good. I'll also hold off on signing Kyle Gordon. We have a lot of good corners. TJ Edwards, I'd like to bring him back for another year, but this is expensive. He thinks that's a good offer, though. He's willing to stick around. And then I'm definitely going to wait till the end of the year to re-sign these guys, especially Braxton Jones. I think we'll be able to bring back these 3, though, which is the most important thing as of right now. But that's enough of that. We're going to go ahead and get to the playoffs. And at the end of year 2, we finish 14-3 and get the bye in the playoffs. We had the #1 offense in points per game and the #1 defense in points per game. Let's take a look at our yearly stats. Caleb Williams with 4,000 yards, 40 touchdowns, and 1 interception. Think we know who's going to win MVP this year. Rushing, we had 1,600 yards and 19 touchdowns out of Nick Chubb. Receiving, we had 1,200 yards out of DJ Moore with 9 touchdowns. Darnell Mooney with 800 yards, 9 touchdowns. Cole Kmet, 700 yards, 8 touchdowns. And Adunze with 700 yards and 7 touchdowns. The O-line held up pretty good, obviously discluding Braxton Jones, but the rest of the O-line held up really good. What we allowed, 9, 11, 12, 13 sacks total on the year other than Braxton Jones. Braxton Jones allowed more sacks this year than the rest of our O-line as a whole. Definitely need to draft a tackle in this upcoming draft. Defensively, Tremaine Edmonds led the team in tackles this year. We had 6 sacks. Oh, I'm an idiot. We had 8 sacks out of Montez Sweat, 7.5 out of Hancock, 6 out of TJ Edwards, 5.5 out of Ankrum with 10 TFLs. Jalen Johnson had 6 picks on the year, 4 out of Brisker, 2 out of Edmonds, 2 out of JOK, 2 out of Greg Newsome, 2 out of Kyler Gordon, 2 out of Tyreek Stevenson, and 1 out of Noah Sewell. That's a lot of picks on the year. I wonder where we ranked like in the league. I'll take a look at that in a second after we look at... I was about to say after we look at Caleb Williams' MVP, but apparently he didn't win it. I have to see what Lamar did this year. 3,300 yards, 30 picks, or 30 touchdowns, 1 pick, 800 on the ground. I mean, call me crazy, but I high-key think we had a better season. He did have a higher completion percentage. Maybe that's playing into it. That's kind of bullshit, though. That's all I got to say about that. Caleb Williams, 2nd place for MVP. Coach of the Year goes to Mike McCarthy instead of us. We got scammed. NFC Offensive Player of the Year goes to Mike Evans. Nick Chubb came in 2nd. Caleb Williams came in 6th. Defensive Player of the Year goes to Bobby Okereke. Don't think we had anybody in the running there. Offensive Rookie of the Year goes to Will Coakley for the Cowboys. Looks like Rashard Bass came in 10th place for us. I think that was the CPU picked tight end that we had. Defensive Rookie of the Year goes to Courtney Boyle for the Seahawks. We came in 4th with Ankrum. Really good season this year. I'm pretty annoyed that Caleb Williams got scammed out of his MVP. 40 touchdowns to 1 pick. Can't really do much better than that. And he also had like enough rushing yards that he probably had more total yards than Lamar did. He had 400 yards on the ground, so he had 4,400 total yards, 40 total touchdowns, which is more touchdowns total than Lamar had and only 1 pick. I'll stop crying though. Let's get into the divisional and see who we have to face. Yikes. We have to play the 49ers. I did forget to look at our lineup just to see all the dev traits and everything. Looks like everything's about the same except that tight end that the CPU took as an X factor. He must be a blocking tight end because the blocking tight ends in this game are insane. Defensively, no dev traits. Didn't really expect much, but I cannot believe that tight end is X factor. Wow. Anyways, we have to play the Niners in the divisional. Kind of have a bad feeling about this. This is probably one of the only teams in the league with a higher overall than us. Let's go ahead and get to the NFC Championship. Holy shit, we won. I was actually really scared there. And we won by 1 point. Wow. Maybe the odds are in our favor. Maybe God wants us to win. I guess we're about to find out because we're taking on the 12-5 Philadelphia Eagles, who only have an 83 overall defense. And we had a crazy offense this year. We should be able to expose the shit out of that defense and get to the Super Bowl. So let's go ahead and do so. And we lost. Wow. The score was 31-24. We only scored 24 points against an 83 overall defense, and Caleb Williams somehow threw an interception. We didn't do very good on the ground. Or not like bad, but they did better than us on the ground. God, that's frustrating. We had a better team than them for sure. Obviously, the Eagles offense is just crazy, but like all around team, we definitely had a better team than them. So it's kind of frustrating, but I mean, I can dwell all I want. There's no changing it. So let's go ahead and get into the offseason. The Chiefs beat the Eagles in the Super Bowl, 21-17. Good. Fuck the fucking Eagles. Super Bowl MVP goes to Patrick Mahomes. This year pissed me off, dude. We got scammed out of MVP, scammed out of Coach of the Year, scammed out of a Super Bowl. Whatever. Let's get into the re-signings. So yeah, we need to go ahead and bring back DJ Moore. He didn't accept the last offer we gave him, so I'll up the money. We'll give him a 4-year, $86 million deal. He thinks free agency will be better in the long run. How much is a franchise tag? 34 mil. Let's bring back these other players first. Jaquan Brisker actually got superstar, so I definitely need to make sure we get him back. I'm going to give him a dick ton of money. 4 years, 52 mil. He thinks that offer is perfect. We need to bring back Kyler Gordon. I'm going to save him for last just because of how good our cornerback group is. Darnell Wright actually played pretty good this year, and this is a pretty decently cheap 5th-year option, so I'm just going to go ahead and accept it. I'm not going to be bringing back Braxton Jones. His ass is out of here. I think we're going to accept this 5th-year option and not re-sign Kyler Gordon. I'm sorry, we're going to franchise tag DJ Moore and not re-sign Kyler Gordon because we need DJ Moore. We don't need Kyler Gordon. That leaves us $13 million to potentially spend in free agency, and we'll also be able to, restructure some deals and hopefully free up a little bit more money if there's anybody good looking. So let's go ahead and look at the free agent class. So there actually isn't one too crazy in free agency. We do need a tackle, but I've signed a lot of these tackles before, and they're normally not very good. Trent Brown is pretty bad in this game, but he's looking like the best option there. I mean, unless we just draft one, obviously. I don't even think there's anyone we're going to go for here. I'm not really interested in any of these players. Like, Batonio's good, but we don't need him at all. Our interior line's been playing great. And we can't even really afford to assign any of these tackles that probably wouldn't even play very good for us. So we're going to skip free agency, and we're just going to get right into the draft. I'm kind of thinking we're going to try to trade up and get Jeff Morton, because I think there's a decent amount of left tackles in this draft that we could try to hit on. And Jeff Morton looks good. I think he's the player we're going to need to add to our pass rush. The only thing that's a little weird about that is we just re-signed TJ Edwards. There's also another good pass rusher right here, Cortland Berry. He also looks pretty good and would probably be easier to get. Maybe this is who we go with. Yeah, this guy's going to be easier to trade up for. We have to trade up to pick 10 and hopefully somehow be able to also draft a a left tackle. But we have an extra 2nd round pick, I believe, so let me see if we can potentially trade up with the Rams here. Oh, and we actually have 2 1st rounders this year. I kind of forgot about that, so this shouldn't be as hard as I thought it was going to be. And here we go. We're switching our 1st round pick with the Rams. In addition, we're adding our 2nd round pick from this year, our 4th round pick from this year, and a 4th from 2028. So hopefully we should be able to get that pass rusher now. And hopefully be able to also draft a tackle because we have another pick in the 1st round. Here we are at pick 10 in the 1st round. Hopefully Cortland Berry's still there sitting for us, and he is. I think this guy's going to be pretty good. He ran a really fast 40 time. Yeah, he had 4.67, which is pretty good for a left end. He has great speed, solid strength, great change of direction, great agility, great excel, and his attributes actually look really good. So this guy will probably be hidden dev. We'll probably put him in over TJ Edwards, and he is hidden dev. Those stats don't look insane, but for a D lineman, 83 speed, 83 excel is not bad at all. Hopefully that guy's going to be a stud for us. With our next pick here in the 2nd round, I really, really want to get a left tackle because that's our biggest hole right now for sure. Let's see if there's any good tackles left on the board. There is a round 1 to 2. There's I cannot talk. 3 round 1 to 2 projected tight ends left on the board. This guy looked the best. Ooh, he had 38 bench reps at the combine. Elite strength, A awareness, A impact blocking, A lead block. He's P pass block, N B pass block finesse, A to B pass block power, B run block. His run block finesse is like his only bad stat other than injury. So we're going to go ahead and take a Core McCann here out of Ohio State. Hidden Dev, 93 strength. That's our new starting left tackle right there. I'm just going to show you guys one more pick, our pick here in the 3rd round. I also don't even think we have our 4th round pick, so this will probably just be the last pick I do as a whole. Don't even know what I want to go for here because I kind of have a good roster. We did lose a corner, even though we already have 3 decent ones. This guy could be good for us. His ratings don't look good. He does have great acceleration and solid speed, but his attributes look really good. A to C man, B zone. What's his press? He does have C press, so maybe he's not as good as I thought he was. I'll probably just take like the best looking player on the board here, which I don't even know who is. This run stopper, Bruce McDougall, doesn't look terrible. He ran a 4.58 and has great speed, elite acceleration. A play rec, B pursuit, A to C zone. I think this is who we're going to take. I'm going to go ahead and take Bruce McDougall out of Oklahoma. Hidden Dev, 85 speed, 90 excel. I think that guy's going to be a stud. So 3 pretty good draft picks this year in this draft. I think those are going to be some good keys to this offense and defense. So let's go ahead and get to the draft recap. Here is a look at the draft recap. The left end we drafted is only a 74 overall, but he is Hidden Dev. Our left tackle and outside linebacker are both 72s with Hidden Dev. It looks like the CPU took a 70 overall receiver who's also Hidden Dev, so I guess that's pretty cool. We'll take a look at the whole draft class. The best player was an 81 overall corner who actually went in the 2nd round. Another 81 overall corner. And then we did miss out on a tackle, but he went 3rd overall, so it's not like we would have been able to really draft him anyway unless we gave up a lot of capital. So I think we actually had a pretty good draft here. I'm pretty happy with how it went. Let's take a look at our lineup with all of our rookies in now. Here is a look at the official new lineup. We got a new starting left tackle because Braxton Jones was fucking terrible, like consistently terrible. Receiving core still looks good. Cole Kmet went up to superstar. Didn't even notice that. But yeah, the offense is looking really good. 2 X factors in the backfield, 2 superstar receivers, 2 superstar tight ends, and a new left tackle that's going to hopefully be good. We actually had 3 dev-ups on defense. Tremaine Edmonds, Jaquan Brisker, and Jalen Johnson. I went ahead and did some fuck shit and moved TJ Edwards to free safety where he's actually an 89 overall. The safety we drafted last year that was Hidden Dev somehow went down to star, and I kind of just put him up here to see what he would look like, and somehow he's an 89, so we're gonna fucking leave him there. That is really funny to me. But this defense looks insane, especially if Cortland Berry can become a stud. Like, then we're gonna have 2 pretty good edge rushers, 2 good run stoppers in the interior, and we have a good linebacker core, good secondary. There's really no holes on this team anymore. Is Santos our punter? I think he's our kicker. Yeah, so we don't need to sign a kicker. We technically need to sign a punter, but I think the CPU will do that for us. So we're going to go ahead and get into this season. And here we are going into the season. We are an 88 overall. That may be the same overall we were last year, but the team's definitely better. Like, let's be real. So we went 14-3 last year. So hopefully we can finish around there again this season. This is potentially the last year of the rebuild if we do as good as we should. So let's go ahead and get into the season. I'll see you guys at the mid-season point. At the midseason, we are 6-1. Again, the 8th offense in points per game and the 18th defense in points per game. So definitely a down year, like statistically. But record-wise, we have the same record as we did last year when we got the 1 seed. So can't complain too much. Caleb Williams has been crazy. 1,700 yards, 11 touchdowns to 1 interception. Nick Chubb, 500 yards, pretty much 5 touchdowns. Receiving, we have 500 out of Adunze, who's our leading receiver this year with 1 touchdown. 400 yards for DJ Moore, 3 touchdowns. 300 yards for Darnell Mooney, 4 touchdowns. And 300 yards for Cole Kmet, 1 touchdown. The O-line is holding up way better without Braxton Jones. Our rookie left tackle has only allowed 2 sacks so far. And it looks like Tevin Jenkins hasn't allowed a single sack on the season. But we've only allowed 7 sacks so far, so we're averaging like 1 a game, which is crazy. Tremaine Edmonds is leading the team in tackles again. We have 5 sacks out of Clay Ankrum, 4 out of Hancock, 2.5 out of Montez Sweat, and only 1 out of Cortland Berry. He definitely needs to step up his game, especially if we want to get him Defensive Rookie of the Year. TFLs, we have 6 out of Montez Sweat, 4 out of Cortland Berry, 3 out of Edmonds, and 2 out of Ankrum. Interceptions, 1 out of Edmonds, 1 out of TJ Edwards, who's now played linebacker, D-line, and safety. 1 pick out of JOK, 1 out of Tyreek Stevenson, 1 out of Jalen Johnson. The team's playing pretty good. I can't really complain too much. I obviously would like more sacks probably is what I'm looking for, especially out of our rookie. I do want to take a look at the lineup because maybe some of those rookies we drafted have dev traits. And yeah, our left tackle that we drafted is superstar, and our D end is also superstar. So I guess strong draft classes is like it's supposed to be, is actually a strong draft class. It's definitely a lot more fun, and it's not like it's like cheating because the other teams are getting the same opportunities to draft these players. So I think I'm gonna use these strong draft classes more often. But that's enough blabbering. Let's get into the end of year number, I believe this is year number 3, at least with Caleb Williams. So let's go ahead and get to the playoffs. Never mind, gotta re-sign players first. I forgot we only franchise tag DJ Moore. We actually have a few players we need to bring back, so this could get expensive. Hopefully DJ Moore actually wants to re-sign this time. We'll give him 4 years, 84 mil. The team's not aligning with his interests or whatever the fuck. We'll try to bring back TJ Edwards because he's now up to superstar 89 overall. That's exactly the offer he wanted. Tyreek Stevenson is definitely one of the least important pieces to bring back right now just because our cornerback group is pretty good. I'd like to bring back Darnell Mooney, but that's not too important right now. Same with TJ Edwards. I'll probably just hold off till the end of the year to re-sign the rest of these guys because I'm mainly focused on DJ Moore, and I'd like to save money to give him the offer he needs, especially because this could even be the last year of the rebuild. But let's go ahead and get to the end of year number, I already forgot, but let's get to the end. And at the end of the season, we finished 12-5 on the year. We had the 8th offense in points per game and the 4th defense. We'll take a look at our stats so far, or our stats throughout the year. Caleb Williams, 4,100 yards, 29 touchdowns to 8 picks. Definitely worse than last season, but not a bad season at all. Nick Chubb with 1,200 yards, 15 touchdowns, and Caleb Williams actually had 7 touchdowns on the ground. Receiving, DJ Moore finished with 1,300 yards and 12 touchdowns. Adunze finished with 900 yards, 4 touchdowns. He was 8 yards away from 1,000. Darnell Mooney, 800 yards, 7 touchdowns, and Cole Kmet with 600 yards and 4 touchdowns. The O-line held up, wow. The O-line held up pretty good. Torrey McCann absolutely sold the second half of the year. He started off so good. Don't know how our superstar left tackle allows 7 sacks, but 7 out of Wright, 4 out of Jenkins, 4 out of Bowley, and 3 out of Nails. Defensively, Tremaine Edmonds led the team in tackles again. We got 10 sacks out of Clay Akram, 6 out of Hancock, 6 out of Sweat, and 3 out of Barry with 15 TFLs. Definitely not going to be enough for Defensive Rookie of the Year, but not too big of a deal. I think he was already superstar. Interceptions, we had 4 out of Jalen Johnson, 2 out of Brisker, 2 out of Stevenson, 1 out of JOK, 1 out of TJ Edwards, 1 out of Edmonds, and 1 out of Milstead. We'll take a look at the yearly awards. I don't think we won any of them. Patrick Mahomes wins MVP. We came in 8th place with Caleb Williams. The NFC Offensive Player of the Year goes to Jalen Hurts, and Caleb Williams came in 8th. DJ Moore came in 9th. Defensive Player of the Year goes to Aaron Donald, and we had nobody in the running. Offensive Rookie of the Year goes to Sam Steele for the Giants. Nobody in the running there. And Defensive Rookie of the Year, we actually came in 2nd with Cortland Berry. It goes to Khalil Teague for the Commanders. Well, there's not much else to do here other than sim to the wild card in this potential last year of the rebuild. Hopefully we can beat the 9-8 New York Giants. And we fucking lost? Alright, now I'm annoyed. Like, I'm so annoyed that I'm considering not even doing another season. Fuck it, we're doing another season just because we can't finish on that, but like, what the fuck is that? The players we need to re-sign here in the offseason, I know we need to bring back DJ Moore. I'm not going to accept this 5th-year option because we're going into the last year of the rebuild. I guess let's just give DJ Moore like a 5-year deal worth like $109 million, and we finally are able to bring him back. I'd like to bring back TJ Edwards for 1 more year. He wants a 2-year deal, so we'll just give it to him so that he re-signs. Or just fucking go to free agency. How much is a tag for him? Fuck. His tag is 18 mil. Yikes. I guess we'll bring back Darnell Mooney. He actually had a pretty good year for us this year. We'll just try to get TJ Edwards back in free agency. We get back Darnell Mooney. I'll probably just re-sign Tyreek Stevenson just to be safe, just so we can still have a good 3rd corner. And he thinks free agency will be better in the long run. Whatever, we definitely need to bring back TJ Edwards in free agency. The rest of this is not too big of a deal, so let's go ahead and get into free agency. And Tyreek Hill's in free agency. We normally like to go for him in the last year of the rebuild, but he does want 27 mil per year, and we only have 28, so we're probably not going to be doing that. Maybe well, we do need to bring back TJ Edwards, I know that much, but we could also just sign Byard instead. He's only 2 overalls lower, and he's like an actual free safety, but he's 34, so I don't know if that's going to make him like progress throughout the year. But really the only position we need is a safety. So do we bring back TJ Edwards or do we sign Byard? Bayard wants less money, so that's who we're going to go with. Because I want to try to trade for one last player before we get into this last season. Looks like the Titans want Kevin Byard back, but I think we're going to be able to beat them out. Which we do. I hope nobody fucking signs TJ Edwards. Fuck him. Yeah, let's go ahead and get to the draft and potentially trade away our first-round pick for a player, but I'm not 100% sure yet. I actually did want to show you guys something that really bothers me about this game. Okay, I didn't even... Whenever I looked at it last time, Nick Chubb was still X Factor, but he actually makes sense because he's older. But our rookie left tackle went down to star. Cole Kmet went down to star. And that's about all on the offense, but defensively, TJ Edwards goes down to star. Oh, Brisker had gone down to star, but I guess they gave it back to him. But Barry went down to star as well, and he was literally a rookie and came in second place for Defensive Rookie of the Year. We lose one playoff game, and somehow that takes away his dev trait. I don't know. I think that's kind of stupid. Especially same with our left tackle. Like, he obviously didn't have a good year, but worth taking away his dev trait? I definitely don't think so. At least Jalen Johnson went up to X Factor. I probably should have signed another corner in free agency now that I think about it, but I think Northrop's going to be fine for us. This defense still looks pretty good, and McDougall was also hidden dev, but I don't think he got enough like snaps to unlock it, so I just put him at star. A little weird to me. If I'm going to trade for somebody here, I'll probably trade for like a corner, or I don't even know. Let me just see if I can get something good out of our first round pick. Here we go. We're going to be shipping our 1, 2, and 3 for this year for Christian Gonzalez to finish off the cornerback group. We probably officially have like the best team in the NFL now. I'm not going to be drafting because we don't have a 1, 2, or a 3 for this year. So let's just go ahead. I'll show you guys the lineup going into the last season, and then we'll get to the playoffs. So here's one last look at the lineup before we get into this last season. Caleb Williams is up to a 95 overall, playing up to a 97 overall with morale. So maybe the Bears should fucking draft him if he's this good, but apparently he's not going to win any fucking Super Bowls. Alright, I'm being salty. Anyways. The team looks good. We have a good receiving core, like a really good receiving core. We have a good tight end, 2 good tight ends, good running back. Defensively, like, I don't think we could look any better. We have 2 good safeties, 3 good corners, a pretty decent D-line, and 2 really good linebackers. We might need to sign a kicker and punter. No, I think we're good. It'll probably sign a punter for us with the CPU. I mean, I don't really think there's anything else I could do with this team. I definitely don't want fucking Shipley getting reps in there. But yeah, we're going to go ahead and get to the playoffs of this last season. And before we take a look at how we did on the last year, if you happen to like the video or you just like Madden rebuilds in general, please leave a like and subscribe because I'm going to upload a bunch of different rebuilds. Here's one last look at the team before we take a look at the lineup. Please leave a like and sub. But on the season, we went 10-7, won the division, and made the playoffs with the 10th offense in points per game. One last look at the stats on the year. Caleb Williams with 3,900 yards, 38 touchdowns, 11 picks. Rushing, we had 1,300 yards and 9 touchdowns out of Nick Chubb. Receiving, we had 2,000-yard receivers, 1,300 out of DJ Moore with 10 touchdowns, 1,000 out of Darnell Mooney with 11 touchdowns, Adunze with 700 yards, 8 touchdowns, and Cole Kmet with 600 yards and 9 touchdowns. The O-line... Stop yelling! The O-line did, like, honestly, for this game, pretty good, but not that good. We had allowed 20 sacks out of our tackles alone, and then the interior, again, played pretty exceptional. Tremaine Edmonds led the team in tackles for, like, every single year, I believe. Sacks, we had 8 out of Montez Sweat, 7.5 out of Ankrum, 7 out of Cortland Berry, 5.5 out of Hancock, and 2 out of Tucker. We had 2 interceptions out of Jaquan Brisker, 1 out of Edmonds, 1 out of Christian Gonzalez, 1 out of Jalen Johnson, 1 out of Kevin Byard, and 1 out of Jack Sanborn. We'll take a look at the yearly awards for this last year. MVP goes to Dak Prescott. We came in 7th place with Caleb Williams. Coach of the Year goes to Arthur Smith. Sorry. NFC Offensive Player of the Year goes... Okay, actually, I'm not sorry. I want to get into this. The reason this is so funny to me, the Coach of the Year, the Saints-Falcons game just got done. The Falcons got blown out. It was like 48-17 or something like that. And I guess the Saints like scored a last-second touchdown that they didn't need to. And at the end, Arthur Smith walks up to can't remember his name. I give up. I'm trying to remember it. The Saints head coach, and he's like, "That's fucking bullshit." Like you can hear him say, "That's fucking bullshit" all the way through like the mics on the sidelines, which is really funny. He was really pressed. Anyways, Offensive Player of the Year for the NFC goes to Saquon Barkley. Doesn't look like we had anyone in the running there. I feel like DJ Moore should have been up there. Defensive Player of the Year goes to Micah Parsons. We also had nobody in the running there. And we also had no starting rookies. But the team is definitely, like, really good. So we're going to go ahead and send past this wild card against the 49ers. Hopefully get a win. And we lose. Sick. I'm so glad I did another season to lose in the wild card again. I guess we'll just finish it off taking one last look at the lineup. We finished with a 90 overall team. Caleb Williams up to a 99 overall. Definitely one of the best teams in the league in this rebuild. Don't know why we didn't win a Super Bowl. I don't even think we made an NFC championship. But I guess that just goes to answer the question. The Bears should not draft Caleb Williams. Trade away your #1 overall pick. Get what you can out of it like you did last year. Build around Justin Fields. And I think the Bears will be just fine. But this was bullshit. That's all I got to say about that. We have 3 90 overall corners, 2 85+ overall safeties, 2 89 overall linebackers, and probably an average of like an 85 overall here on the D-line. We have 2 superstar receivers, 86 and 92 overall. Darnell Mooney had an 82. Nick Chubb was like a high 90 overall throughout the whole rebuild until this season. The O-line is probably like an 82 overall average. And then we have 2 really good tight ends. Cole Kmet at a 90 overall. You can't give me any reason why this team shouldn't have won more playoff games. But I'm going to stop complaining because that's going to be the end of this video. Leave a like, sub, comment anything you want to see, and I'll give you a kiss. Deuces.